station, everybody. Happy new comic book day. Happy Whiplash Wednesday. I'm your host, TM Nerdy, the Mountie, as Brother Joe likes to say. Today on Whiplash Wednesday, for chatting with the comic community, I have a special guest. It is Whiplash Wednesday. Before this was hashtag Blame Fable Show on Instagram, one collection down. Go check that out. I'll get to the rest after this show. I have a great guest. He's usually only seen on Instagram Live or on comixKings. Brandon, who I also had on my show. I think that was episode 11. But today I have his co-host from a lot of shows that he does with Brandon. Everybody likes to call him Hillbilly Comics. His friends like to call him Bryce, but I like to call him Guy Gardner. Let's give him a hearty station and introduce Guy Gardner. Station.
What's going on, TM? How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Yourself?
Not too bad.
I am so happy that you're joining me here today and just able to chat. So for the viewers at home that are watching that don't know who you are, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Okay, so yeah, my name's Bryce. I'm over on Instagram at Hillbilly Comics. I also co-host a show called Weekly Wrap Up with my buddy Brandon over at comixKings on IG, YouTube, TikTok. Dude's pretty much everywhere. But yeah, I'm a college student, engineering major here in West Virginia, and I've been collecting reading for a few years now. It's kind of my escape from all that because it can be a lot. So it's nice to have a little bit of an outlet. And I've been blessed and lucky enough to meet this great community along the way. I'm proud to be a part of.
That is awesome. So you're around the same age as Brandon. Like you said, you're going to school now to do a major, which I think is amazing. School is the best. I'm actually thinking of going back, getting into a course on September 26th. So we'll go forward from there. But you're the same age as Brandon, and so I'm curious of how you got started into collecting comics.
Yeah, I mean I'll be 21 here in a few weeks, so I'm still pretty young. But I got started into it. It's kind of weird. My journey's been kind of weird. So I started reading a little bit, probably a stack of about 13 to 15 comics, multiple titles, Marvel and DC, when I was like 10. And I went to a comic shop down in Lexington, Kentucky, which is actually a couple hours away from where I live. And I was down there for, I think, a doctor's appointment of some kind. But we went to a comic shop because I'd seen it on The Big Bang Theory. And I'm like, that place looks cool. I want to go somewhere like that. And so my parents took me. I think I had I think I had Batman and Captain America, a few Flashes, a few Green Lanterns, a Spider-Man, and just a bunch of like all your big here. I think I had a couple Supermans in there, but just a real mixture of everything. And that was the only comics that I had in my possession for like those were the only ones for like 8 years. So from the time I was 10 till the time I had almost graduated high school, that was my comic collection. I still have all those copies of those books to this day. A lot of them are beat to shreds, but I love them.
They're well loved.
They're very well loved. Even the modern one. I think I had a Flash #1 from the New 52 because it had just came out, and I went and looked at it a while back. I'm like, I did not treat this thing well, did I? But probably my junior year of high school, I started watching the Flash TV show on the CW. I heard pretty good things about it. I'd always knew about the character. I liked the character growing up. He was one of those standout members of the Justice League for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, Wonder Woman wasn't even in my DC Trinity growing up. It was Superman, Batman, and Flash. And so when I heard they made a live action TV show, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I think season 3 had just ended. Binged all 3 seasons on Netflix. Loved it. And I'm like, okay, I want to know more about this guy. Like, where can I go to learn more about this. And so I started searching up YouTube videos about getting like the history of the character and stuff. And then I saw this YouTube channel called Variant Comics, one of the bigger channels out there, but they do a lot of like character histories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at the end of every video, they give you a list of reading recommendations in case you want to go check some stuff out. And so I got to the end of that video, and they had a few recommendations, one of them being Flash Rebirth by Jeff Johns and Ethan Van Sciver. So I went to a Books A Million, I believe, found a copy of that trade, picked it up, and read it in probably one night. I probably read it all in 1 or 2 nights.
And how many years was this? How many years ago was this?
This was probably mid 2018, maybe early to mid 2018.
So you can say you've been reading like steadily since 2018 now?
Not steadily, but that was it got me back into it for sure. And then I would go to an LCS every now and then, pick up a few books, just a few random issues here and there that I enjoy, that I thought I would enjoy. But it was hard to go every week because at the time I was headed into my senior year, and I was a 3-sport athlete. So I pretty much.
What sport did you play?
Well, senior year I played soccer, basketball, and baseball.
Nice.
Yeah, baseball being the one I was excelling at the most. But
I love playing baseball, man.
Dude, it was a blast. I played left field, got to run around the whole time.
I played shortstop.
So. All right then. Shoot. Big time over here. Nah.
I had a lot of time to practice.
Dude, for sure. I had it easy compared to shortstop.
Well, here in Summerside, like we probably, for a small little city, like in the main part of the city, we have like 3 ballparks all by each other, and there's usually a game happening at one of them a night, mostly like a week. So we have a lot of ball games here, and like there's a lot of ballparks. So it's they say Canada is the hockey place of everything, but like you come to PEI, it's baseball here.
Baseball. Yeah, that's where I'm at in West Virginia. West Virginia, a lot of people don't think of it like this, but it's a basketball state. It is a heavy basketball state. Like Jerry West, who's actually the guy they used for the silhouette in the NBA logo, is from like a small town in West Virginia. He went to WVU, and he's kind of what started the basketball craze here, but then it's just kind of progressed over time. But I was a lot more into basketball growing up, but then baseball just kind of took over. It's kind of funny though. You mentioned with my team, I went to a small Christian school, and so the few of us that wanted to play baseball went and played for another Christian school in the area, who was our rival in basketball. And then my senior year, we actually had another school come in who was in the same boat. So our baseball team was a combination of people from 3 different schools. But going back to the comic thing afterwards.
Yeah, getting off track here.
Getting off track a little bit. But I mean, baseball, come on. Yeah, I mean, I read that book, decided I wanted to try to get back into it, was reading when I could, collecting some back issues when I could, because I love the history behind a lot of these older books. And yeah, after I graduated high school, I pretty much dove head first back into it.
So what would you say would be like the one that like hooked you? Like the one series that like you had to pick up every week?
It started out as so DC did this event called You're the Villain, which I'm just going to say I was not a fan of. But after all of that was over, I picked up or no, it wasn't it was when You're the Villain was still going on. I decided to try out You're the Villain. It was after the Flash Year 1 is when I started buying the Flash every month. Like I think year one was issue 70 to 75. I have issue 70. That was when I was still kind of really busy, too busy to go every week. And then once issue 76 came out, I decided like, okay, I'm gonna start buying this every month. And then I just was trying to, get some titles here and there that I enjoyed. I cycled through a lot, but Flash was the one consistent one for a while. And then pretty soon, I jumped on X-Men when Hickman came on. Missed House and Powers, went back and read that all, but when the Dawn of X started, I started buying a bunch of X-Men, and then Daredevil. Daredevil became another one that I was buying all the time.
So are you like Brandon and not liking Kevin Smith's run on Daredevil?
I actually haven't read Kevin Smith's Daredevil, but I've heard good things from everyone but him. So I just but I mean, I'm sure his criticisms of it are valid. I mean, there's always going to be people that don't like something, just like there's always going to be people that like something that is universally hated.
Yeah, very, very true. Like, there's a lot of people that the only thing I can think of right now is because Kevin Smith's on the mind is the Masters of the Universe Revelations. A lot of people were torn between it. Some people hated it, some people loved it. So as long as people don't try to be like, you know what, it was good, you should realize it's good, and people that hated it are not like it's the worst, you should hate it too type thing. As long as people can respect each other's opinions on that matter.
Yeah, no, yeah, and that's me and Brandon definitely have some different opinions on books that don't really make their way to the show because our show is more about weekly books, and our opinions differ on like past stories. Like I know Flashpoint is one we differ on a good bit because he doesn't like how it was editorial, how it was an editorial decision to launch the New 52, and that hindered his enjoyment of the story, which is totally understandable. And then I personally don't care. I think it's one of my favorite stories of all time. But just yeah, things like that. But I will have to read Kevin Smith's run on Daredevil and then get back to you on that. Actually,
Yeah, I picked up Guardian Devil, and it just had, it was a collected edition with Kevin Smith, Joe Quesada. Like there was backup stories. It wasn't just all Kevin Smith and that.
yeah,
I read like at least 2 issues from that so far, and I've been enjoying it.
which
Like
that's what started the Marvel Knights line, wasn't it? Or kind of what put it on the map.
yeah, I think so. I can't be too sure on that, but I think it would have because just the way the story goes and that and what it's called. I'm
Oh yeah.
guessing that's what it is. And I haven't read his. I know he did run on Green Arrow, Quiver, and I heard that was fantastic as well. And I want to go back and read that.
I've been meaning to check. I've actually never read any Green Arrow, so I've been wanting to get into some.
Yeah,
So
you're
maybe I'll
not
check.
into that like street level kind of character. You're more into like the superheroes like Superman and the Flash, of course. The Flash
Superman, The
being probably one of
Flash.
your favorite ones, and I just want to point out it's Barry Allen,
Now I
not
love
Wally
Wally.
West.
I love Wally. If Barry is my if Barry's in my top three, Wally is in my top 10 or 15. Like I have a deep love for Wally West character too. But yeah, I do prefer Barry Allen.
Yeah, I think it's all about like what year you were born at too, like what when you were reading comics, who was the
Yeah.
Flash at that point in time. I know a lot of people older than I am are Wally West fans because that's the Flash that they grew up on. Mine is Barry Allen. I love Barry Allen, and yours is Barry Allen as well.
Which Wally was still the Flash when I was a kid. Like I grew up in the 2000s and Barry didn't show up until Final Crisis in like '09, I think. So I mean,
And
I still like Justice League Unlimited. Like I
that's
didn't realize it until now, but that was Wally.
yeah, that was Wally, and I didn't realize that either for the longest time, and it was voiced by Lex Luthor, Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville.
Oh shoot, yeah, true.
So it was always fun hearing him do the voices and that. You ever watch his YouTube channel?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, it's kind of funny sometimes. He has a lot of celebrity guests on that he works with sometimes, and that it's fun.
He's actually going to be at a con I'm going to here in a few weeks, so I might actually have to make my way to his table a little bit.
I've watched videos at cons with him and Tom Wellings, and they're just hilarious together. And if you have a chance, go just look it up.
Dude, Tom Welling's going to be there too.
Oh man, yeah, you're gonna have. You should go. You should go.
See it live.
Yeah, film that. It'd be gold.
Yeah,
but so are you currently reading The Flash right now?
I am, and I am very much enjoying it. Not as much as the Joshua Williamson run. I'm actually going back and reading what I missed of that run because it's a fantastic run. I love it. I love what I've read of it. And so I'm actually going back to try to fill in my gaps there. But Wally West to me has always just been a lighthearted, fun, not immature, but almost having like a childlike joy about him. And you're definitely feeling that in the current run.
I'm currently not reading The Flash. I do watch the Flash TV show, but I'm not reading The Flash. From DC, I pick up Wonder Girl. I've been picking up Robin, of course, Batman.
Wonder Woman's actually been pretty good. Me and Brandon have had a chance to talk to the writers, and they are definitely passionate about the Wonder Woman character. And the story's been pretty bombastic so far, pretty kind of trippy even. So if you like Wonder Girl, I'd check out Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and not only did you guys have the creators on, they did a giveaway on Brandon's channel, and my boy Fable, Station Fable, he was on there judging and doing the wheel.
Oh yeah, he was. Shoot, yeah. Yeah, actually, they sent me and Brandon a copy each too. That's over there on that wall. Can't see it, but I get a nice view of it from my reading chair over here.
So when would you say you started collecting every week? 2 years ago?
I would say probably right after I graduated high school in early 2019 is when I remember going every week, because I went to high school pretty far, almost an hour from the closest comic shop. But now where I'm going to college, it's right down the street. So I live exactly in the middle of it. I would drive 30 minutes one way to go to this high school just because I didn't want to go to the public school in my area. And then after I graduated, I just went I'm now going 25, 30 minutes in the other direction. So it works perfectly now.
So you're probably at the comic book store every day after school?
Not every day, but at least once or twice a week.
Well, at least you're honest.
Yeah, I mean.
So you and Brandon are both well-versed in comics and that. So you must have gone back and read a lot of trades and trade paperbacks. You said you read Hawksbox.
I did go back and read Hawksbox. Brandon is very much more well-versed in what he's read than I am. I'm still kind of catching up on a lot of stuff a little bit, but I like to think I'm getting there at least. And
well, it'd be kind of hard probably schoolwork and reading comics and that. You can only read so much in a day where you just need to rest your eyes.
Yeah.
So it's understandable, but you've been talking about Jeff Johns. You said you really love his work.
Love Jeff Johns. Which is funny because I actually haven't read his Green Lantern run. That's next on my Jeff Johns.
Oh, come on, Guy Gardner. You got to get in.
I know.
Hey, that's such a Guy Gardner thing to do.
Is read everything but the thing he's most known for. I've read a good bit of his Flash stuff. I've read You know, a little bit of his Teen Titans, some of his like Geiger is another book I've been really enjoying from Image. It's funny, Jeff Johns is the writer that got me into comics, but I've not read as much of his stuff as I would have liked to.
Yeah. I know, well, with DC, their trades are a little bit more expensive on the end and stuff, but like, have you ever checked your library? See if they have anything from that?
I haven't. That'd be a good move though. I keep hearing about that, but I don't know.
Like, that's
I never end up making it down there.
that's how I read a lot of stuff, like Morning Glories by Nick Spencer, iZombie. iZombie was fun. I watched the TV show, so I thought I'd check out the comic. Totally different thing. Totally different, but it was still good. Like, the way they did it with the TV show worked, and the way they did it with the comic worked.
Oh yeah.
So
Which that's I've kind of been reading two runs in tandem as of late. Like I would read one for a little bit, take a break, read something, read this one, and I would been working my way through Invincible, which I'm about halfway through the series on that, and then I'm about 42 issues into Ed Brubaker's Captain America run. So that's Captain America is one of those street level characters. Well, he's not really street level, but he's like he's not the most powerful, but he's also an Avenger,
yeah.
and so he kind of goes back and forth. That he's always been one of my favorites, and
Well,
so
Captain America, when you say street level, to me, it's like people with no abilities,
okay, yeah,
no powers, like Batman, Nightwing, those type of characters. But like, you can argue that Spider-Man is street level too. So it's kind of iffy on where you can
yeah. People like Luke
consider
Cage
street
are
level.
pretty street level too.
Yeah, and he's very powerful. So yeah, it's hard to determine, I guess.
I wouldn't okay. I wouldn't call Captain America a street level because he deals with the big stuff, but he's one of the less powerful characters that I am definitely a huge fan of.
So you read a lot, like, from Marvel and DC. You've been catching up on a lot. Like, I've been catching up on some Marvel titles and stuff. I don't pick them up physically, but shout out to Brandon for letting me use his Marvel Unlimited.
Oh shoot, same man. Shut up.
So, but I'm more into the DC and indies and that. But you've been kind of going with both.
And indies too. Honestly, I try to stay pretty well rounded, pretty well versed. Um, to the point where I can just like I like to think I can be a fan of just about anything. So like after I finish Invincible, I'm diving into either like some classic superhero stuff or Why the Last Man. So two totally different things that I'm considering. But yeah,
Yeah,
I try to stay pretty well rounded.
I haven't read Why the Last Man, but I hear good things from people.
I
So
have to, and the Brian K. Vaughan stuff I've read so far, so like Paper Girls and Saga, fantastic. Definitely, both of them are probably going to be in my top 10 reads of the year if I decide to do a ranking.
yeah, I'll be picking up Paper Girls here soon. Like, Stefan Missing Link
Yeah,
recommended me to that, and he said it's Brian K. Vaughan. He's a huge fan of Brian K. Vaughan. And told me to
it's
check
a
it out.
it's a good run, and it's only 30 issues, so it's not a huge commitment. So it would definitely be one to if you've not read a whole lot of Brian K. Vaughan, I wouldn't start with Saga because Saga's kind of a big commitment. It's 54 issues so far. But 30, especially where you can get like the three hardcovers, which have 10 issues each in them, it's a bit more digestible.
Mhm. One series that's long that I've been diving into is The Wicket and the Divine. Have you ever
Oh,
heard of
like
that?
Kieran Gillen. Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out.
Like, I gotta shout out Eric, the Stash, Durant's. He sent me an AOK and he sent me the first volume of that, and I was hooked. After reading that, I've read volume 2 and 3. I just got 4 and 5 in, and it's a 9 volume series, so like, it went for a while. So I'm pretty committed to reading all that. And I gotta shout out brother Joe's lovely wife, sister Joe, her and I video chat. I video chat with brother Joe sometimes, and she's on there, and she's been picking up The Wicked and the Divine too, and
Nice.
she's already passed volume 3, and this is a woman that doesn't read comics and is just getting into it too.
There you
So
go. So Wicked and the Divine. It's a finished series, right? Like there's not any more coming
yeah,
out. Okay.
it's a finished series by Image, so you can get the first volume for fairly cheap. It's just whenever the second volume and the third volume is when it goes up, but it went for a while, a 9-volume series, and this will probably be my first long running indie series that I've finished. Like, because Spawn, I've only read the first 50 issues, and then
Yeah.
what I have had from like 300 on.
Which that's I kind of decided like I kind of made smaller, starting steps, and then just decided to take a huge leap with my indies because I went like, okay, I read some like volume ones here and there, some stuff from Kirkman, um, which God Country is still one of my favorite
I still got
comics.
to read that, man. I still got to read it. I got to
It's
find it and get it. There's only one volume too, right?
Yep, yep, 6
Right.
issues. That's it. But I went from that to like Paper Girls to Saga, so it was a little bit of a jump. 6 issues, 30 issues, 54 issues, and then I started reading Invincible, which is almost 150 issues.
That's nothing, man. That's not.
Honestly, it feels like it's nothing sometimes. Though. I pretty well it. It was a bit of a chore at times getting through some parts of the first compendium, just with the setup and not getting a lot of payoff. I'd seen the show at this point, and a lot of stuff in that first compendium carries over from the show, which nothing wrong with that. They're both fantastic. But then once I got into the second compendium, I think it was around issue 50, I was pretty much speed reading it.
Just speed reading it.
Dude, pretty much. I'm almost. I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through the second compendium already. I started reading it a few weeks ago, but I did take a break from it to read another Captain America omnibus.
So are you like the rest, and you watched the show and wanted to get into reading it? Because a lot of people did that. They skipped on the series when it first came out, and but it did come out around the same time as The Walking Dead. Like, what was
Yeah.
it, like a couple of years after or before?
I actually think Invincible came out first. Like the first issue came out in like summer 2003, and then Walking Dead was fall.
Okay.
So it wasn't too far apart. It was only a few months, but I think Invincible had it beat by just a little bit.
So I'm wondering if The Walking Dead kind of overshadowed it, and a lot of people were getting The Walking Dead because, like, I remember Kirkman saying um, that whenever anybody asked him, like, who is the what is the best selling comic, and he's like, what comic came out last week? Oh, that is the best selling comic, because each week it kept being the best selling comic after a while.
Which that's one of my kind of big gaps in my comic, especially indie comic knowledge. I've read one volume of The Walking Dead, and that's it.
Are you picking up The Walking Dead Deluxe?
I'm not. I just wanted to. I'm very much a purist when it comes to certain things, and so if I'm going to read The Walking Dead for the first time, I want to read it as it came out originally, as it was originally intended in the black and white. Which once I get through little bit of my backlog, I might go and pick up the compendiums because Amazon has them for like pretty cheap.
Yeah, so, actually, I've read The Walking Dead from my library. They had every volume at my library. So
well, then I might just do that, man.
Yeah, I picked them up, and I know Big Herm Collectibles picks them up. I think Fable picks them up, and Stephen picks them up as well. And it's just more of like, it's more the collector in us, because a lot of us have read it, and that, but it's more of like, okay, this is our chance to actually own like a full run of The Walking Dead, because how are we going to go back and get that?
Yeah,
So
those
this is just
early
a way
issues.
for us.
Oh,
So it's more of, and plus it's fun kind of reading them back in color. You get more from the story, in a way. Like
yeah.
it's funny how color can actually bring the story to life a little bit more.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Which I definitely notice colors a lot of times, and
Yeah,
sometimes
especially,
that actually influences my decision on whether or not to pick up a book. But yeah, man, it definitely could bring the story to life.
and I love the Walking Dead series. I have not um I haven't gone into like Fear of the Walking Dead or that new series that came out, but I've been following The Walking Dead since the beginning, and
Dang.
I enjoyed this season and stuff. And I know Big Herm Collectible still likes it, and that's why I just love The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I mean that's it's still going for a reason. A lot of people, it still has enough of an audience to have continued for this long. And I know this is the final season of the main series, but the fact that it's lasted this long, it's had to have had a pretty sizable audience the entire time.
Yeah, and a lot of people just can't quit it. Like I know me, like I'm a completionist. Like if I start it, but like I can fall off of some stuff. Like if comics are a little bit easier for me to drop,
Yeah,
just because of the price wise. But like when you're watching a TV show, you don't have to put price wise. Especially like I probably wouldn't care if like I was really wealthy and like had a lot of money to put, like if I had to be like, all right, I got to choose between this a comic and this week and type thing. I'm gonna choose the other thing because it's probably food.
yeah,
But um, so it's kind of easier for me to drop off a comic that I'm really not enjoying. But like for a series that I started off like banger hits, like Supernatural, for example, season one was amazing. Season two by far is probably still my favorite out of all 15 seasons. So
yep.
that got me hooked. Season three just kept me hooked. Even though it fell off in later seasons, I couldn't give up because it just gave me those 5 seasons that I really enjoyed.
Which that is my whole thing with the Flash CW show,
Hmm.
where because in my opinion, seasons 1 through 4 were all fantastic. Season 5 was tolerable. Season six was decent. I enjoyed the Crisis stuff a little bit. I thought Bloodwork was a pretty compelling villain, which again I love
Short
Brian
lived,
Williamson
short
and everything.
lived, but I'm hoping that he makes a return.
Oh yeah, and the Godspeed stuff when it actually was Godspeed instead of just the clones or the like androids almost. I
I'm
really
not
enjoyed
sure
it.
if they're androids or like a part of him.
Well, I'm saying it made them out to be androids
Mm,
earlier on when they were showing up.
mm,
I don't know if that's what they were, but that's how they came across.
yeah,
But when it was actually evident that they were going to use Godspeed, I'm like, okay, I'm into this. Especially with like people can hate about his look and everything. Like I know I wasn't a fan of the poster either, but I thought Jordan Fisher did a great job as Bart Allen.
mm,
I
I,
I, I honestly really did.
yeah. Um, well, his nickname like Impulse,
Yeah.
like, and that character, as you can tell, is kind of impulsive in a way,
Oh,
and
very.
he nailed it as that character in a way. And so, and then we also had XS back as well, but just a different XS than we had from the year before, because she had none of the memories that of the other one. That one's gone. So
Yeah, which that was unfortunate. That was actually one of the more well done and well crafted moments of season 5 was the ending with the three of them. So
yeah,
it's a shame, but
and it's sad because there was Kid Flash, Wally West, um, said he wanted to come back. There is actually an art, like he posted something, but he's in somewhere else right now, and like with COVID going on, like crossing over, he's in the States, so he wasn't able to make it to Vancouver where they shoot it, to be in there, but he was asked to be, which, if that could have happened, that would have been amazing, because like we would have had, not only like we had Barry Allen as the Flash, we had Iris West. She was in the suit, and that as well. Um, we had XS, we had Impulse, and we had Jay Garrick.
Yes.
If we could have just added Wally West, that would have been like amazing.
And Johnny Quick, Max Mercury, Jesse Quick.
I know. Oh man, I like
You're
what?
good. Okay.
Like I'm sorry,
Impulse,
but like don't mention Jesse Quick, because I'm still sad, because like she, like, I don't know if she's dead or not, but there has to be another version of her.
Here's my thing with all Impulse thing. Then this, as a comic purist, I get that they tried to have Jay kind of fill that Max Mercury role, but why not just bring in Max Mercury? Like that would be a deep cut for your Flash fans of like the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
That have stuck with it. Because if you've stuck with the show for this long, because some later seasons have been absolutely pathetic.
I really like the Clifford DeVoe one. Like, people drop off at season 3 and not realizing that season 4 was an amazing season.
Oh, I loved that one. Absolutely loved it. Hate what happened with Hartley Sawyer, who played Ralph.
Yes.
But absolutely loved his character for the time that we had it. And probably honestly, I would say he was the best
comedy relief.
With the best character introduced after season 1. I would even say he was a bit of a better character than Wally. That's just my opinion, but
and he like kind of stuck around for a while, right?
Yeah. I thought he had, and not to say I didn't like Wally's arc. I enjoyed Wally's arc, even though it didn't seem like Wally, but it works for that Wally. I enjoyed Ralph's arc a little bit more, kind of being that he almost had kind of a Tony Stark style arc, just dumber. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I do hate the fact that they brought in Sue, who's in the comics goes by Sue Dibney, because they're married, and kind of like, oh man, that actors who played them and the chemistry between them in the show was just amazing. So I'm sad
I thought they were going to go forward with that. I thought that Ralph and Sue would eventually end up in a relationship.
And I think that's where they wanted to go with it. That's where they planned to go with it. But with all that happened and stuff, the last season ended with Mirror Master, and that was the end of the arc of that. And then the next season, he wasn't in. But there was a character that played him with a full mask on.
Oh, the deformed face and
yeah. But then Sue did show up later on in the season well, which she did a fantastic job as that character, which, you know what, I think they could have been aiming for like almost a mini or a spin-off series with Elongated Man and Sue Dibney.
I would have been all in for that. And honestly, like, just my opinion, I think it was dumb how they fired him, but what's done is done, and it's a shame that we missed out on what could have been there.
So, speaking of Jay Garrick, not really speaking of him, he was mentioned earlier. He is going to be in this season of Stargirl. Have you been watching Stargirl at all?
No, but I've heard good things about it. And if they're going to start bringing in the whole JSA aspect, then I might have to jump on.
Because they did, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, or you, for the second season, they did bring in like a really dark villain into this series. And they did bring in a character that's connected with the Green Lantern, Alan Scott.
I was about to say Alan Scott. I see, like Alan Scott, Jay Garrick. I'm just waiting for Dr. Fate to show up, and then it'll just be.
So you have watched the first season?
I haven't, but honestly, shows like that where I'm not as invested in the character, I don't care as much. Excuse me, I don't care as much about spoilers just because I'm using those shows to learn about the character.
I think I don't know if you've ever watched. I can't think of the name now. Young Justice.
Absolutely.
There's a character in there that I always enjoyed, just his character wise, and that I know he's a villain, but Sportsmaster, and seeing him live action on Stargirl and how they did his character, I loved it. I loved the fight scenes between them. I loved how he was portrayed in that. He was probably one of my favorite villains of that season.
Which you bring up Young Justice. That Sportsmaster was one of my favorite, kind of side villains almost, but mostly because of his relationship to Artemis, who was one of my favorite characters in the show. And especially after which, I mean, spoilers for Young Justice, but this happened almost 10 years ago, especially after Wally's death. I'm not calling it a death because it really hasn't been confirmed. He just kind of vanished, and if there's anything we know about the Flash, if they vanish, they're probably in the future somewhere.
Yeah.
But I thought her character really handled Wally's absence very well, very maturely, and she really came into her own, especially in season 3, which I enjoyed. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy season 3, but I found a lot of things to love about it. I'm not a huge Fourth World fan, but I'm getting into it more. And so I loved seeing all that with Granny Goodness and Darkseid. Was a little bit bummed they didn't bring in Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, but can't have it all.
No, I guess not, but it was still a great show. I loved it. And like the third season was called what? The Outsiders?
Outsiders.
Yeah.
Which props to Beach Boy for taking charge on that one.
Yeah, well, actually, they didn't really have Beast Boy featured in any of the Young Justice that much.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he was bigger in season 3 because he was the one that kind of had the idea for the Outsiders and kind of took charge of all that. But yeah, seasons 1 and season 2, he was like mentioned here and there, but never really.
Well, we got to see his birth in a way, and it was a little bit different because he got his powers because of Miss Martian.
Yeah.
So that was a little different. She gave him blood?
I think so. I think that's what it was. Something was happening. He needed a blood transfusion, and she could manipulate her blood type, I guess.
Yeah, because Martian Manhunter, they can change forms and be somebody different. But it was always just a little weird that, I know she has the transformation and stuff, but his skin turned green, and then he was only able to transform into animals, which I don't know. It was a little different, but it was still good. It was a different take on it.
Yeah.
So what are you collecting now that you think everybody should be getting onto? That, well, not everybody, but something that you want to I don't know, tell people this is a good book and this is what I like about it. Maybe they may be interested in it if you give a little bit of a rundown on it. What books are those?
Oh, man. See, that's tough. One thing I will say, because I won't say to jump on it in single issues now because it's getting ready to end. At least the current series of it is. But Chip Zdarsky and Marco Cicchetto's Daredevil, which started a few years ago, if you can find that in like trades, I would definitely pick that up. Or if you have a Marvel Unlimited subscription, most of the issues are on there. They're a few behind of what's currently out, but 100% worth it. Obviously, Tom Taylor's Nightwing is a great book right now, but what can I say about that book so far that hasn't already been said? Honestly, a lot of the Star Wars line of books that's coming out right now have been pretty good. I think the only one that I'm reading because of War of the Bounty Hunters that I know for a fact I'm going to drop after the event's over is the Bounty Hunters book. But Dr. Aphra's been pretty good. Star Wars has been great, and Darth Vader has been absolutely fantastic. So I would say if you can only jump onto one of those books, go on Unlimited, read all the issues of Darth Vader that you can, track down what you still need, and then just keep reading it. Because Darth Vader has been absolutely phenomenal.
And you've been reading indies as well, not just the big two Marvel and DC, because you've mentioned Geiger. What other indies are you picking up?
Radiant Black has been one I've been really enjoying. Nocterra has been a book I've been pretty into. Seven Secrets from Boom Studios has been one I've been really enjoying. That has a volume 1 trade out, and then it's up to 11 issues, so I'm pretty sure there'll be volume 2 of the trades out pretty soon. Excuse me. Yeah, Radiant Black, Nocterra, and Seven Secrets are probably the 3 indies I've been enjoying the most, ongoing anyway, because Geiger is a limited series that's getting ready to end. The Many Deaths of Layla Starr by Ron V. It's been really good. It's getting ready to end.
Yeah, have you been reading Marjorie Finnegan, Temporal Criminal?
I have not. Who's writing that, though?
I think it's Garth Ennis.
So it's probably got some stuff going down in it. It's Garth Ennis.
It's a book that does not take itself seriously at all, but it does have a good story. Like it's like the main focus in front of you is like all the wackiness that's going on, and it's about like kind of like two sisters that one's like a timekeeper in a way, making sure the timeline stays good and stuff, and then her sister is like jumping through time and just screwing up everything, running after I don't know if you're gonna like this. She's running after like an old priest with a strap-on dildo.
Good God.
So
I was not expecting.
I know you're a churchgoer, so I'm not sure.
I don't know about. I don't know. I might do some more digging, just to really because I feel like that was a really simplified explanation.
And then it's just it's definitely not for kids. Definitely not for kids. But it's a fun, adventurous read, and a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of kids, been really enjoying Something Is Killing the Children, of course. I'm reading it in
Speaking of kids, Something Is Killing the Children.
Speaking of kids, yeah. But yeah, I've been reading that in trade. Been really enjoying it when I get to check it out every few months. And let me move back here. That's pretty much it. A lot of series. I know I'm getting ready to do a read through of Immortal Hulk, which I believe is ending in 2 weeks. So I wouldn't say jump onto that unless it's in trade, but I won't tell you what to do with your money.
Yeah, I didn't jump on the train of Something Is Killing Children, but I do have the hardcover, not with the slip, because that was a little bit more, and I was like, okay, with every dollar that goes up in USD, it's even more in Canadian. Like, so I think we're sitting at 75 cents to the American dollar right now. So we're about 25 cents less, but that adds up the more you go up. So I got that, and so I've been picking up issue 16, 17, and 18, just to, like, whenever I read that book, I can go on and read the continuation.
Yeah, I have not been doing that. It's on issue 18, I think, so there should be another trade come out in November. So
No, okay.
I'm cool to wait until then. And I was gonna pick up the hardcover, but by the time it got announced, I was already 2 trades in. And the
Yeah,
hardcover collected up to the 3rd trade, and I'm like, there's no point to this.
yeah, there really is not. Like, if you're just like, that's the reason I picked it up, was just strictly for reading purposes, and that. And the way my shop does it, I could pre-order it, use Sizzle if I want, and do it 4 payments every 2 weeks.
There you go.
So I was just like, you know what, I'll do it that way. And plus, you get points that you can put on towards pre-orders. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
I did it that way. So I'm jumping on the train of that. Have you been reading Crossover or Department of Truth?
Oh, Crossover's another one. Yeah, haven't been reading Department of Truth. I'm thinking about jumping into the trades on that one, but not sure. Crossover though has been one that I've been reading since issue 1, and I've really been enjoying it. And I'm sure a lot of people watching this, most everybody are already comics fans, but just in case you're not and you've stumbled across this somehow, you definitely need to be in the comics a little bit to get to get a little bit of the meta stuff going on in Crossover. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't exactly call that book new reader friendly, but if you're one of the many comic fans I'm sure watching this, then yeah, Crossover is a must read.
So what about Spawn? I've talked a little bit about getting the Spawn compendium. Me and Big Herm Collectibles did a show on the first 50 issues. I know it's probably hard to get caught up on Spawn, but are you thinking of getting into, like, the new Spawn universe with King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn?
I'm not a Spawn fan at all. I try to.
We can't be friends anymore.
Huh?
We
A lot of like the Hellspawn and stuff like that, I try to stay away from just for fake reasons. So like John Constantine's a character I've never really read. Ghost Rider's a character I've never really read. Just for those reasons, if that makes sense. But I've heard good things about it. I'm sure he's a very enjoyable character. And yeah, actually, the only Spawn book I even have in my collection is the cover B to issue 311 that had the Chadwick Boseman tribute cover. Just because Chadwick Boseman is one of my favorite actors, and so I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta get this.
Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna wrap things up now. Is there anything you'd like to say for final words?
Yeah, just keep on reading, keep on enjoying this lovely medium, and if you feel like it, come join me and Brandon over on comixKings here on YouTube every Friday night at 8 p.m.
And the link to Brandon's channel and your Instagram are in the description down below. Go check them out. Thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with me. I had a blast of a time with you, Bryce.
Dude, anytime, man. This was a lot of fun. Love to do some more stuff in the future for sure.
And if you noticed, I called you Bryce and not Guy Gardner. You earned my respect, and now I'm calling you Bryce.
Whoa. I didn't even notice that. I notice it when it's in the chat because you're like Station Bryce, and then I'm like, wait a minute. And then like
I quickly changed that.
And then like a minute later, it's like my bad, Guy Gardner.
I really enjoyed this. And guys, thank you everybody who's watching this on the premiere this Wednesday, or anybody who's watching this on the rewind. But the fun doesn't stop here. This is Whiplash Wednesdays. As I said earlier, hashtag Blame Fable Show happened on one collection down on Instagram. Then we stopped here and had an amazing conversation with Bryce. And then after this, look out for Nick Comic Culture's video where he'll be doing his haul video. And then somewhere, he likes to pull a kind of Where's Waldo type of thing. Missing link. Yeah, that's right. Our boy Stefan will probably pop up somewhere on Instagram. So keep your eyes open for that because you never know when he's going to stop by. Then Big Herm Collectibles and Sam from Sam's Tangled Web chop it up about Marvel, DC, indies, movies, who knows? Tune in and find out because it's always a great time with those two. And then this week on tomorrow's show, I'm not sure if he's going to be doing a video or it's just going to be a hangout. Last week it was What Are You Creating, which is the final fourth week of tomorrow's show. Fifth weeks are usually just a chill out and hang out kind of vibe. So just tune in, keep your eyes open to make sure what he's doing. All right, man. Thank you, Bryce.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. TM, thanks for having me on, man.
And station to all of you guys, make sure to look in the description, follow him on Instagram, sub up to Brandon comixKings. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And as Big Herm Collectibles likes to say, ding, 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 that notification bell for future videos. Station, everyone. You're all worth it.